Hi, I'm Ethan Kwan, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make our bouncing ball game thing that I made in Scratch this morning. I actually already recorded this, but the file got corrupted, and it was a big pain, so I didn't want to I didn't want to make it again. So here I am. So I'm making it again. Just for you guys. Okay, so you might have seen the project already. It's a little game where you're trying to keep this ball off the bottom of the screen by using this little paddle, and you are just trying to keep the ball in the air. So this is actually a pretty fun game. It gets kind of repetitive after a while, but you can have fun like that. So let's get into the video. So I have a new Scratch project right here. I'm gonna rename it to bouncy ball tutorial. Okay. So first of all, let's create a nice backdrop. So the backdrop can be, let's just make it a black. So I'm just going to draw a big square. I'm just going to color it black like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sprite. Sorry, we're going to have to get rid of Scratch Cat. Sorry, Scratch Cat. And we're going to get rid of it. Okay. And we're going to create a new sprite called ball. And this ball sprite will just have a single costume, and this costume will just be colored. I'm just gonna color it green. Okay. Oh no, that's a square. This is a circle. Okay, we're gonna draw a circle, and I'm gonna make it about 16 by 16, which is what I did, and then I'm gonna remove the outline. Yeah, you can barely see that on the top. There's a few pixels missing, but this can be a real problem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna center it again, and then we're gonna size it up back to 16 by 16, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a big square around our ball. Now this is necessary because we want this ball to be able to go off screen. So make a big square. I made mine like 132 by 83. Okay, so now we have our ball. I'm actually gonna shrink it down to maybe like 10 by 10. Okay, so now we have a ball costume, and as you can see, it is round. So let's create a new sprite. Let's call this one paddle. Paddle. There we go. So I'm going to make this a rounded square. So the easiest way to do that is just create a circle. This circle, I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to put it in the middle here. Let's just make it 21 by 21. I'll just make it 20 by 20. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we are going to shape this out a little bit. So we're going to zoom in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click right next to the top point, and then we're going to click on the other side as well. And then on the bottom, we're going to click right next to the bottom point, and then same thing on the other side. Now, let's go ahead and select these 3 points on the left with Shift. So if you hold down Shift, you can select multiple points. And then I'm going to zoom out. Oh, well, that works too. Okay, and then I'm going to size it up like that. So I'm just going to drag it out. Oh, make sure you're holding Shift while dragging, because that will snap it to a center. So like here, for example, if I put it back, right now I can just move it wherever I want. If I press Shift, it will snap to one of the grid positions. So make sure to hold Shift while dragging. And let's make it a bit smaller, and let's actually size it down a little bit. A bit smaller. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Okay. Yes, okay, good. So now we have a paddle sprite. Okay, let's go ahead and add a way to move the paddle. So go to the coding tab, grab a green loop that I clicked, and grab a forever loop. And what we're going to need is a variable. So delete the my variable, and we're going to just go ahead and create a new variable, paddle xvel. So this is going to be the paddle x velocity, and keep it for all sprites, and click OK. So we're going to add the very beginning. We're going to set paddle xvel to 0. And then, inside the forever loop, we're going to change paddle xvel by, and then we need to grab a subtraction. This is how you make smooth movement, by the way. So, we're going to go and subtract x position from mouse x. Actually, no. We're going to subtract mouse x from x position. Yes. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to change x by paddle xvel. So this will move it toward our mouse. So let's just test that out. And as you can see, it is very, I guess, very wobbly, I suppose. Okay, so let's fix that. So let's add a bit of friction to this paddle xvel. So inside here, before the change x by, we're going to set paddle xvel to, grab a multiply, and we're going to multiply, and this is going to be a friction value, so we're going to create a friction value of 0.75. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 0.75 by paddle x VEL, and we're going to set paddle x VEL to that. So set paddle x VEL to paddle x VEL multiplied by 0.5 and 0.75. And now, as you can see, it's much more less wobbly. As you can see, it kind of stabilizes on our player, our mouse. I'm going to hide the paddle x VEL. Now, it's still kind of wobbly. You can shake your mouse back and forth and it'll do that. So we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the paddle x VEL by a fraction of how much we have to move. So we're going to grab a division, we're going to divide by 15, and we're going to stick this mouse x subtract x position in the left and drag that back in. So now, as you can see, it is much smoother to move, and I think I really like that. Okay, now, at the very beginning, let's just make sure to put it to a good Y position. So I set it to a Y position of, so grab a go to XY, go to X, 0, Y, negative 120. And let's just go ahead and check that out. There we go. So now we have a nice paddle that moves toward our mouse pointer. Okay, let's go ahead and make the paddle point in the direction we're moving. So we're going to put a point in direction 90 at the very top. And then we're going to point in direction inside here. We're going to point in direction paddle x VEL. And that is going to cause problems, as you can see. So we don't want that. So we're going to have to change. As you can see, it is rotated by 90 degrees. So all we have to do here is we just have to add 90 to paddle x VEL. So just grab a plus, paddle x VEL plus 90. Okay, and drag that back in there. So now that should be fixed. As you can see, now we have a really movie paddle thing. What can I say? It's like very tilty. So we're going to go ahead and divide paddle x VEL by 2. That's better. Okay. Okay. So inside the ball sprite, let's work on the ball sprite now. So first of all, green flag collect. We're going to need two new variables, ball x VEL and ball y VEL. So we need those two variables. We're going to just reset those to 0 at the very beginning, like that. And then we're going to grab a forever loop. And inside this forever loop, we're going to change ball y VEL by -1. Now this will change our ball y VEL by -1. So now let's make our player move, or our ball move in that direction. So we're just going to change y by ball y VEL, like that. So now, as you can see, it will fall, and as you can see, actually, we have to reset the position of the ball. So at the very beginning, we're just going to set go to X, 0, Y, 100. So at the very beginning, it will go to that position, and as you can see, it falls pretty well. So as you can see, it falls, and then we can just click the green flag to reset it. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's make it so that if we hit the paddle, we'll bounce up. So grab an if ball, if touching paddle, then I'm going to bounce it up. So the easiest way to do that is just to set the ball y VEL to 17. So you can just play around with this value. This is going to be the bounciness factor, I suppose, and that should work. So let me just, there we go. So now we have a bouncy ball. Now, we can't move it left and right yet, but we can fix that soon. So, let's actually make the gravity. So this negative value here is the gravity. So I'm going to make that 0.7 because it's a bit too strong right now. There we go. That's better. Okay. So right now, as you can see, it will bounce up and back down like that. And actually, instead of making the gravity 0.7, let's make it 0.9. And then set the ball y VEL to 19 instead of 17. Let's just test that out. That's pretty good, I think. Let's make it a bit higher, actually. So maybe 21. Yeah, that's pretty good, I think. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Okay, good. Now let's make the ball move left and right. So we're going to go ahead and inside here, we're going to change x by, and let's put this above the change y by, change x by ball x VEL. Now this shouldn't change anything because ball x VEL is still 0, as you might notice, but let's change that. So if touching paddle. Inside the if touching paddle, we're just going to set ball xvel 2, and this is going to be the velocity of, this is going to be the angle of our paddle. So, to get that, all we have to do is use the paddle xvel, and remember, in the paddle we divided this by 2, well, we have to do the same thing here. So, divide by 2. There we go. So, inside here, we're just going to set ball xvel 2, paddle xvel divided by 2. So let's just test that out. There we go. Yay! Oh, well, we're ignoring that. As you can see, it does actually work pretty well. Now let's make the ball die. Well, I say die. It means like, let's make the player die, or let's make a game over screen, I suppose. So, let's create a new if, and, not in there, below that. Okay, we're going to grab a less than, so we're going to check if our y position is less than 200, and negative 200. So this means if it's below the screen, then we're just going to go ahead and reset our ball. So, we're just going to grab these first 3 blocks from the top here, and stick those in there, and then we're just going to grab a wait 1 second at the very top, because we want a bit of, actually, let's put it at the bottom. So, we want a bit of grace period before our ball starts moving again. So that our player doesn't feel so quick, and it doesn't need to be that quick. So, let's just test it out. Let's let it fall, and as you can see, it will stop, and then once we hit it, there we go. Well, there we go. Okay, and now it will also die there. Okay, let's make our ball bounce off the edges of the screen. So let's create a new if x position is greater than, 245, then let's just set it to 239, so that's going to be just the edges of the screen. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to set ball xvel 2, and grab a multiply, set ball xvel 2, ball xvel times negative 1. Now, let's do the same thing for the other side, but we don't need to create another if, because we already have this set ball xvel 2, ball xvel times negative 1. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab a or, and just duplicate this. Actually, no, instead of doing that, we're going to use a less than, and then we're going to go ahead and put an x position in there. So, now, just set this 50 to a negative 239. 239. Alright, so now we have our ball bouncing. So we can just test that. And it should bounce off the edges, and yes, it does. So, now we have a pretty stable bouncing ball thing. And if we lose, then it works, and of course it doesn't track for the top, but the top is fine because we're never gonna get to the top. The ball's never gonna get to the top. Yeah. So now we can add some fancy stuff. So let's add a trail. So a trail is not too difficult. Let's do a pen trail so that it's not too hard to add a pen trail. So let's go ahead and add an extension. Grab the pen tool. And at the very beginning, we're going to erase all. And then we're just going to go ahead and stamp inside the bottom of the for loop. Okay, so that should leave a trail. But as you can see, this is not a very good trail because it doesn't like fade out. So let's fix that. Actually, this is kind of fun, but you know, let's fix that. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a new sprite. And this is going to be called background. And, well, I guess, well, let's call it pen tool. And then, let's go ahead and when green flag clicked, forever. And then we're just going to draw a big transparent dot to the screen, and you'll understand why in a little bit. So, we're going to set the pen size up here to 1000, so that it fits the entire screen. We're going to go ahead and set the pen color to black. We're going to go ahead and set the pen transparency to 80, and then inside the forever loop we're just going to do pen down, pen up. Now this should make it fade out, and yes it does. So why does this work? Well, you might have seen GriffPatch's tutorial on this. I didn't get this from GriffPatch actually. I actually knew how to do this before, but you might have seen it before. It basically is drawing a giant transparent box in the screen, and then it's just like It's just fading it out over a certain period of time. It's kind of weird, but it works, so we're gonna keep it. Okay. So now we have our trail. Let's add some fun particles. So in here, in here, we're just gonna go ahead and, you know where we have touching paddle? This is when we are touching the paddle. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to go ahead and create clone of myself. And when I start as a clone, so this is gonna be the particle. So this is gonna be the particle effect, and we're gonna make it kind of like explode out, so it looks like we've kind of like splat it on the kind of like, I don't know, and yeah. So so what we're gonna do is repeat. Let's just repeat 10, and we're just gonna go ahead and set at the very beginning, we're gonna set our ghost effect to 0, and change our ghost effect by 10. Okay, this should give an effect that whenever we hit it, we should get a, no, maybe not. I don't see it. Give me it. Not because of the trail, so I'm gonna get rid of the stamp maybe, and we'll just see like that. Yeah, okay, it does work. It's just that the stamp was kind of messing with that, and you couldn't really see it. Okay, so we're gonna keep the stamp in there, and yeah, okay. Let's just see. Yep, you can't really see it because of the stamp, but it will be visible soon. So, let's actually change this to a repeat 20, and change ghost effect by 5. And then at the very end, we're just going to delete this clone so we don't have an excess of clones. Now let's make the size random. So we're going to set size to pick random. Oh, and we want this to kind of be small, so it's going to be 5 to 20. And, okay, so that should work. Yep, there it is. You can see a really small dot wherever it hits. So yes, that works. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a bunch of them. So, well, first of all, let's make the particle move in a random direction. So, let's create a new variable, particle xvel, and this is going to be for the sprite only, and same thing for particle yvel, particle yvel. There we go, and for the sprite only. And we're going to go ahead and set these at the very beginning. So, set particle x and yvel to. So the yvel is going to be a random number between 0 and 5.0. And the particle xvel is going to be a random number between -4.0 and 4.0. And then in here, we're just going to make sure we're going to move, change x by particle xvel, change y by, well, let's not do that, change y by particle yvel. There we go. Oh, no, that's not particle y. Particle y variable. There we go. So, now we should see that our particle is moving. Oh, yep, you can kind of see it. It's very, very small. Yeah, let's set the size to something bigger, so let's make it 10 to 40. Yep, there it is. Perfect. Okay, so, yeah. So let's create a bunch of them now. So inside this create clone of inside touching paddle, we're creating clone of myself. Well, we can just stick this in a repeat loop. So repeat, let's just say 20, create clone of myself. Let's see that. And now, as you can see, that's not exactly what we want. So, as you can see, it's taking a little bit of time to create all the clones, and we don't really want that. So let's fix that by creating my block. So make a block. And we're going to call this create particles. And make sure to click run without screen refresh, because this will run it in a single game frame instead of taking 20 frames to run this one block. So create particles, and stick the repeat 20 inside there, and stick the create particles back where we took the create clone of myself. And then instead of repeat 20, let's pick a random number between 10 and 27. I picked those numbers randomly. Okay, so yes, so now as you can see, it is creating particles like that. As you can see, they don't really have gravity, which is kind of annoying. So let's quickly add gravity, which is pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and change particle yv inside the when it starts a clone. Change particle yvel by -1, -0.1. 9, because that's how much gravity we have. And let's just test that. And wait, hang on. It does seem to be working, but let's just set the YVL to something higher so we can actually see it kind of launch up. So particle YVL to maybe 10.0. And let's set it to 2.0 to 10.0. And let's just test that out. There we go, that's better, I think. Okay. One more thing is, right now we can just hold the ball in one place and we'll get a bunch of score like this. So we don't really want that. We want the player to have some action. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and inside the touching paddle, we're going to change our ball XVL by a random number. So set ball XVL to paddle XVL divided by 2 plus a random number between negative 5.0 to 5.0. And let's just test that out. So we can stick that in there. And we can test that problem again. There we go. So as you can see now, it doesn't move exactly in the direction that we want it to. So I think that's good. Well, yes, you can't just stay in one place anymore. It will move a little bit randomly. So right now I'm just holding it, and as you can see, it will kind of randomly move left or right. Well, okay. Okay, that's a bit too much. Let's make it, instead of negative 5, we're going to make it negative 2.0 to 2.0. And that should be a bit less extreme. Let's just hold it. Yeah, so it's quite random, and as you can see, it doesn't... Well, let's just keep it like that, and let's just see. Yep, as you can see, it launches itself in a random direction, left or right. And yeah, so you have to constantly keep moving to keep the ball in the air. Okay, last thing I want to add is a score, a high score, and a global high score. So let's add a score first. So every time we touch the paddle, we want to add 1 to the score. So first of all, let's create a new variable, score, and for all sprites. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this variable to the bottom. So we're going to set score to 0 at the beginning, and then whenever we touch the paddle, we're going to change score by 1. So let's just test that out, and yeah, so now we have a score variable. But I kind of want to be able to try and beat other people with this score variable, so let's create a new variable, local high score. So this is going to be the local, so on this device, what's the highest score. So for all sprites, and what we're going to do is also set this to 0 at the very beginning. So underneath the one green flag clicked. And then here what we're going to do is, I'm going to move that like that. So here we're going to do is if score is greater than local high score, then I'm going to set local high score to score. Okay, so let's just test that out. I should probably move the variable. I'm going to move this here. And let's just test it out. Yep, 1, 2, 3, and then let's just die. And then, yes, so it doesn't... Oh, so every time we die, we have to reset the score. So, inside, if Y position is less than negative 200, we're just going to set score to 0. And let's just try that. So, 1, 2, 3, and die. There we go, and it resets, and then we have to beat the score again. So let's try and get 4. There we go. And then 5, and then if we die, then as you can see it resets. But the local high score doesn't reset. Unfortunately, we have to press, whenever we press the green flag, it will reset. Okay, perfect. So, one more thing is, at the very beginning, before we start, I kind of want to give the player a bit of time before the game starts. So, let's just wait 2 seconds at the very beginning, like that. So now we have a bit of time to get ready, and then it starts. Perfect. So, yeah. Now, let's add a global high score. So what we're gonna do is make a variable, and call this global high score. Now, we're gonna go ahead and click this cloud variable stored on server, checkmark. Now, if you don't have this option, this means either you're signed out of Scratch, or this means you're not a Scratcher. So, if you're not a Scratcher, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to do a bit more programming before you get this option to become a Scratcher and use cloud variables. But if you do have it, great, you can use this, and this will store this variable in the cloud, and this will be basically global. Like all around the world, you can play this game and see what the very highest high score ever is, and then yeah. So and then we can click OK. This disclaimer is just saying you can't add letters into a global high score variable, but luckily we're not doing that. We're just adding a number to this high score. Okay, so this is going to go pretty much the same way as the local high score. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this if, and we're just going to say if score is greater than global high score, set global high score to score. Okay, now to test this, I'm going to have to use another account. So, and then as you can see, I'm signed in my FunnyPie1234-test. So this will work. This is a different account, so this should work. We're going to share this project, and then what we're going to do is we can refresh in this page, and let's just test the game. So, as you can see, I can play the game in this window, and it will, yes, so let's just go into full screen on this one, and let's just play both projects, and let's just play this one, and let's just see what happens if we get the high score on this one. And as you can see, the global high score is updating across both browsers, so that means that it is working. So, this is great. So now we have a way to see the high score on all devices, and this will be kind of a competition across the world. And then if we stop this one but start playing on this one, let's just try and get the high score here. 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Yep, as you can see, it's updating on my other screen as well, on my this other side screen. Okay, so I'm gonna quit. Great. So now this is working. So this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from this. So this is a small game that I wanted to just share with you. Could you give me your opinion on these kind of short projects, because these are kind of fun to make, and if you enjoy these kind of short tutorials, I'm not sure how long this video is, but if you enjoy these short tutorials, please say so down in the comments, and maybe I will make more. But thank you for watching. I hope you like this project and this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching. See you at howtodosolution.com, and see you next time.